2 basketballs are not enough to call this scene out for over-basketballing, but it is too many basketballs for a high school hallway without the accompanying teacher yelling for them to put those in a locker.
Everything wrong with Miss Marvel, ladies and gentlemen. There are 2 basketballs in a high school hallway.
What makes you think you have Ant-Man powers?
Because we're both charming and we look a lot younger than we are.
Marvel thinks that its introduction of the multiverse makes it okay to steal jokes from our universe about Paul Rudd's abnormal and completely unfair genetics.
Somebody sounds a little jealous. Also, are you saying it's a sin that Paul Rudd ages like fine wine? I'd say that's a win, especially for white people in general. We finally have a glimmer of hope.
I heard Zoe's follower count quadrupled this weekend.
And now we enter the opposite side of the hallway, where the tunnel of exposition is already in progress.
But the show is making it clear that this is a huge deal within their community, and therefore everyone is talking about it. It actually makes sense that she would overhear something about it.
This QR code works! Yes, I'm giving that a sin, because it leads us to a site where Marvel teases free content while also dangling in front of us another paid subscription service, which I'm probably signing up for because I'm absolutely loving the show.
So it's a bad thing that a show is able to promote something in a subtle way that most normal people wouldn't notice? That's stupid.
And then all of a sudden there was all this screaming and I was thrown to the ground.
How do you forget that you were slammed by Thor's hammer? How do you forget that?
She didn't forget it. She's glorifying the story for her audience. The real question is, how do you not understand this?
Also, you know all those times in life where you stand shoulder to shoulder with your friends for a protracted period of time so everyone has to turn their necks 90 degrees to engage in the conversation and the camera can film everyone from the same angle?
So have you never walked side by side with your friends and then stopped to look at something and talk about it? Really? Maybe the issue is that he just doesn't have any friends in the first place.
So, who was it?
Nightlight.
Show is leaning hard into its portrayal of superheroes as celebrities in this reality, so it stands to reason that Kamal is an up-and-coming star. What doesn't make sense is that Zoe would feel the need to make up this name on the spot.
Why doesn't this make sense, though? Are you going to bother explaining? You can't just say something and expect it to be true. You sound like every religion ever.
I don't know, guys. It's hard for me to take scenes like this seriously when there are people positioned behind Zoe who are only able to stare directly at the back of her head, as if that is somehow normal.
So people are no longer allowed to stand behind other people? This is simply a group of friends hanging out while the ringleader tells a story to a bunch of people. I really don't get what's so unrealistic about any of it.
I see we're sticking with the 17 logos theme in episode 2, which means I suddenly feel obligated to sin this again. But I don't like being obligated to sin, so this sin is for the pressure to sin and my determination to break free by sinning it anyway, which somehow brings me a sense of control.
A whole bunch of bullshit.
I'm going to point out that if the school has any budget issues, they might want to consider turning unneeded lights off in unused parts of the building like this one.
Everything wrong with Miss Marvel, ladies and gentlemen. A school leaves a lot of lights on. You know, because even though real life schools such as my former high school do it, it's still somehow unrealistic.
I guess we wouldn't truly be backstage in a high school theater if this random assortment of easily toppled items wasn't set up and ready to fall at the slightest nudge.
So the backstage area of a theater having props that can be knocked over is a sin? What the hell? Why?
Okay, no super strength. All I got is this.
Being mildly dissatisfied with just one superpower.
Pointing things out on the screen with no superpowers.
So it looks like your power isn't coming from the bank.
Show wants you to know that you'll do none of this and more on your Microsoft Surface.
And here's the inevitable product placement sin where Discount Jeremy thinks it's wrong for a show to feature products even when it's not obnoxious in the slightest.
You have to let me go.
As the saying goes, pride comes before the fall from an inconsequential height that you concealed with a deceiving camera angle to artificially create tension, despite the fact that we all know you're not going to harm the main character in any meaningful way in the second episode of the series.
This trope wasn't done so much to build tension as it was to make this joke.
Beating pipes does not make water come out faster. Beating pipes makes it worse.
And this is the part of the video where Discount Jeremy just criticizes a character's actions for being wrong when it's something that people actually do in real life all the time, meaning that it's not unrealistic at all and is therefore not a sin, but he still sins it anyway.
No Snapchatting in the masjid.
It's Insta.
When you're so brand loyal that you feel the need to correct your elders in the masjid, but still can't be bothered to use the entire name of said brand.
Pointing things out on the screen.
Gotta fix this place.
No, you mean they gotta fix our section of this place.
It's clear this scene is trying to make a point about unequal distribution of resources, but audio feedback is loud, terrible, and should be heard all throughout this room, not just in one section.
They weren't just referring to the feedback, though. Yes, that's what sparked Kamala's original comment, but Yasmin's response was meant in a more general sense. How do you not get this?
Sisters,
No talking during the lecture, please.
Because of course our favorites get in trouble for whispering, even though the selfie sisters were so loud just a moment ago. Selective hearing that drives the plot is selective.
But the selfie sisters were reprimanded by someone else before he noticed, whereas Kamala and Yasmin haven't been talked to yet.
That is the 22nd pair of shoes that have been stolen.
So go with me here. Maybe stop wearing expensive, desirable shoes to a place where people keep stealing them?
Victim blaming. The really egregious thing about this sin is that if a character in the show had said what he said, he would have sinned them for being a dick. But when he says it, it's totally fine.
What's up? You want some?
Is there alcohol in that?
Nah, it's just orange juice.
Who the f*** is this kid? And why is he offering random people his orange juice? And why is Kamala accepting his orange juice? And why does the scene feel like a meaningful lesson about not trusting drinks from strangers wrapped in a contrived coming-of-age trope? And why do I feel like adding a sin even though I agree with the message?
Discount Jeremy sins something he agrees with cliche. Also, if you would just pay a little bit of attention to the scene, then you might get the answers to these dumb questions.
Throw my shirt.
I was going to send the attractive character sexily emerges from water cliche, but I'm going to pivot to the starstruck character is standing on clothing that is needed by waterlogged hottie cliche because it's just so annoying when it happens.
2 misuses of the word cliche and 1 sin?
It must be my birthday.
Did she just pull a drink out of the freezer? I think she just pulled a drink out of a freezer.
But we have zero indication of that. Sure, this fridge could be one with the freezer on the left, but it could also have a pull-out freezer on the bottom. And the cartons inside aren't necessarily ice cream. They could be anything. You're making a baseless assumption to force a sin out of the show.
Kamala agrees to driving lessons without checking with her parents first? Is that allowed? Kids are terrifying.
Yes, and this decision is therefore realistic, meaning that it's not a sin of the show, but rather a realistic action that fits the character.
Hey, Kick, are you feeling alright?
Kamala can't stop glowing, which I fail to see the issue with, but the show presents it as a problem that can't be solved without first confirming that she's tried to take the bangle off, or that she even still has it on for that matter.
I agree that she should simply take the bangle off, but the dumb part of this sin was when you said that you don't see the issue with her nose uncontrollably glowing. I'm adding a sin for the sheer amount of stupidity in that sentence.
I know how weird your mom can get about tampons.
Tampons? Oh, come on. It's not like people believe they get lost in your bloodstream or something. Wait, they did? Okay, well, it's not like some people believe you lose your virginity to them or something. Oh, they do. Fine, at least we all know they're made from cotton candy. Wait, what? Okay, well then this sin is for ridiculous misunderstandings about tampons.
Yet again, he's sinning something that's realistic. Just because it's dumb in real life doesn't mean it's a sin when it happens in a TV show.
I mean, she does have another hand. If she wanted to carry on the cycle ruse and reach for it.
If you would actually watch the scene you're watching, you would see that she didn't know her hand was glowing until she started reaching up with it, and by the time she put it back down, Yasmin had lowered the tampon.
Maybe someday you'll feel like Jersey's your home.
Jersey?
That fake-ass laugh.
But no, I've spoken too much already. No, I'm not going to talk about this at all, beta.
As someone who once received an electric massager from their grandparents, I'm aware that certain presents should never be acknowledged or discussed. But Nani refusing to talk about the family heirloom she just gifted Kamala seems more about drawing out the story and less about things people actually do.
Nope, she didn't want to talk about it because she didn't want to heighten Kamala's interest in it or have to explain her family's past, and that is very much a thing people do.
Technically the reverts.
But to do that, you have to make it past the mini Harami girls.
What? Have they been sworn to protect the reverts for some reason? Even then, it looks like they're really into running around a bunch, so getting past them is probably just a matter of waiting till they're out of your way.
Obviously, they're just referring to which group they want to get first, and it actually has nothing to do with the groups being connected. Man, the TVSins writers are really struggling to understand this simple scene.
The Illuminantes.
Dibs. I'll talk to them.
I mean, sure, go directly to the aunties, but wasn't the whole point of the last scene to go to specific groups first to get a greater chance at the aunties? And if not, then why show us the previous progression of the political plan at all?
The point was to show the different groups within the Muslim community in their mosque, which deepens our understanding of their culture and lives. You'd think people who watch TV and movies for a living would be able to grasp simple concepts like this, but nope.
I have to go after my white whale.
Character uses everyone's favorite literary reference for something difficult, cliche.
That's the third misuse of the word cliche in this video.
As Nakia presses for a vote, I'm reminded that too many people use the political knuckle-pointing gesture thing. It's distracting, and I'm so focused on it that I can't even hear anything important being said.
Discount Jeremy has the attention span of a toddler with ADHD cliche.
I'm not sure where to get anything on this plate, and that is a f***ing sin because it looks delicious.
Discount Jeremy sins something he probably likes cliche.
Is this about the party?
It's a strange question to ask when the first question should be, where are my parents?
So you're sitting a character who has been shown to be very independent for not being dependent? The hell?
Wants us to believe that no one here, not even Scowls McGee, saw Kamran zoom in with his uncle's whip, pick up Kamala, and speed away.
Nope, the show isn't telling us they didn't see him, it's only telling us that they weren't able to stop him. Stop making things up.